In the crisp autumn dawn of October 4th, 2025, Incheon International Airport transformed into a pulsating heart of global fandom, a nexus where dreams intersected with departures. The air hummed with anticipation, a symphony of shutter clicks and muffled whispers, as hundreds of army gathered like pilgrims at a sacred rite. But amid the chaos of flashing cameras and surging crowds, one figure slipped through the throng with a quiet intensity that cut sharper than any spotlight. Jungkook, the Golden Magne, BTS's unbreakable pillar, now raw and unshielded in the face of an inevitable goodbye. Jungkook had arrived unannounced, his black hoodie pulled low over doe eyes that betrayed a storm brewing beneath. No entourage, no security detail, just him, backpack slung over one shoulder, heart heavy with the weight of unspoken words. He'd driven through the pre-dawn Seoul traffic himself, the city lights blurring into streaks of purple and gold, mirroring the bruises of their shared history. It had been mere weeks since both he and Taehyung, Kim Taehyung, the ethereal V, had shed their military uniforms, emerging from 18 months of disciplined solitude into a world that had waited, breathless, for their return. Yet freedom felt fragile, laced with the bittersweet sting of paths diverging once more. As he navigated the terminal's labyrinthine corridors, Jungkook's mind replayed fragments of their tapestry, woven from stolen moments in dorm rooms and stadium spotlights. He remembered the first time he'd truly seen Taehyung, not as the deep-voiced Hyung with a laugh like velvet thunder, but as the anchor in his sea of insecurities. It was 2013, during the grueling trainee days, when Jungkook, barely 15 and drowning in the pressure of prodigy expectations, had collapsed in the practice room after a 12-hour rehearsal. The mirrors reflected his exhausted form, sweat-soaked and trembling, until a shadow fell across the floor. Taehyung, ever the night owl, had wandered in with a thermos of ramen, his boxy grin slicing through the dimness like a lifeline. "Hey kid," Taehyung had said, voice low and teasing, but eyes soft as forgotten melodies. "Dance like no one's watching? Nah, dance like the world's ending. Then eat like it's starting over." They'd sat there for hours, slurping noodles under fluorescent hum, Taehyung sketching absurd doodles on napkins while Jungkook confessed his fears of never measuring up. That night birthed their unspoken pact. Taehyung, the dreamer who painted emotions in broad strokes, and Jungkook, the doer who etched them into permanence. Taehyung, the fandom whispered, a bond that transcended labels, a quiet revolution in vulnerability. Fast forward through the whirlwind. The mama stages where they'd lock eyes mid-chorus, sinking breaths like twin flames. The late-night drives post-concert, windows down, belting out off-key covers of each other's solos. The military enlistments that tore them apart, yet forged them closer via smuggled letters and pixelated video calls. Hyung, Jungkook had typed in one dispatch from the barracks, fingers fumbling over a contraband phone. "The stars here look like your eyes, distant but pulling me home." Taehyung's reply, scrawled in his whimsical script on a photo of a Parisian cafe. "Then come find me under them, bunny. We'll chase constellations together." Now, as Jungkook rounded the corner into the departure lounge, the crowd parted like the Red Sea before Moses, or in this case, before the Magne, whose mere presence commanded reverence. There, amid the velvet ropes and Celine-branded elegance, stood Taehyung, a vision in checkered white shirt and faded blue jeans, his Angel V aura radiating that effortless poise that made runways weep. The ambassador for Celine's Spring-Summer 2026 collection, he was Paris-bound, the city of lights beckoning for his debut post-mill. Yet his smile, that megawatt curve fans adored, faltered for a split second when his gaze locked on Jungkook's. "JK." Taehyung's voice cut through the din, a mix of surprise and something deeper, relief, perhaps, or the ache of recognition. He excused himself from the cluster of reporters, his zip-up boots clicking softly against the polished floor, and closed the distance in 3 strides. Jungkook didn't speak. Words were superfluous soldiers in their arsenal. Instead, he surged forward, arms enveloping Taehyung in a hug that was equal parts fierce and fragile, as if anchoring a balloon about to slip skyward. The embrace was poetry in motion, or stillness. Jungkook's face buried into the crook of Taehyung's neck, inhaling the familiar scent of sandalwood cologne mingled with the faint tang of airport coffee. Taehyung's hands, broad and reassuring, splayed across Jungkook's back, fingers tracing idle patterns that spoke volumes. I'm here. I'm going. We'll be okay. But okay was a lie they both knew too well. The crowd hushed, phones raised not in frenzy, but in hushed awe, capturing what felt like a private universe unfolding publicly. Whispers rippled. Is that Jungkook? Oh God, the hug. And then the dam broke. Jungkook's shoulders shuddered first, a subtle tremor, like the first raindrop before monsoon. He pulled back just enough to meet Taehyung's eyes, those deep pools that had mirrored his joys and jagged his griefs. Hyung, he choked out, voice cracking like fine porcelain under pressure. Don't forget to text when you land. And eat properly. No more skipping meals for sketches. It was a plea disguised as nagging, the Magne's way of saying, I love you without the weight of the words. Taehyung's facade cracked in tandem, his elegant poise giving way to a vulnerability that only Jungkook ever glimpsed. Bunny, he murmured, thumb brushing a stray tear from Jungkook's cheek. Unbeknownst to the younger, it had escaped, tracing a silver path down his jaw. Paris is just a detour. Home's where you are. But the lie hung heavy. Paris Fashion Week was no mere jaunt. It was Taehyung's renaissance, a solo stride into high fashion's gilded halls, where he'd walk for Celine under the gaze of icons like Michael Ryder. Jungkook knew it, felt it in the way Taehyung's grip tightened, as if memorizing the topography of his frame one last time. Tears welled in Jungkook's eyes now, unbidden and unrelenting, spilling over like ink from an overfilled pen. He wasn't the stoic Magne of award shows, the one who powered through encores with a grin forged in steel. This was Jungkook unvarnished, the boy who'd cried on live streams after their first world tour, overwhelmed by the love that threatened to swallow him whole. The artist who'd poured his post-military soul into tracks like 7 and 3D, each note a breadcrumb back to brotherhood. I hate this, he admitted, voice muffled against Taehyung's shoulder, the confession raw as exposed wire. The waiting, the miles. After everything, the barracks, the silence. Why does it still hurt like the first time? Taehyung held him closer, chin resting atop Jungkook's tousled black hair, his own eyes glistening like dew-kissed leaves. Because it's us, JK. We built this, brick by tier, laugh by lyric. It hurts because it's real. He pulled back, cupping Jungkook's face in both hands, forcing their gazes to entwine. Remember Busan? That beach at midnight, waves crashing like our arguments, but we danced anyway. Barefoot, ridiculous, free. That's us. We'll dance through this too. The memory flooded Jungkook, a clandestine escape during their pre-debut haze, sneaking out for salt air therapy. Taehyung had spun him under a canopy of stars, their laughter echoing against the tide, bodies moving to an imaginary beat that was theirs alone. It was the genesis of Butterfly, Taehyung's ethereal tribute, and Euphoria, Jungkook's soaring response. A duet in solos, proof that distance was no match for destiny. Around them, the world intruded gently. A reporter's gasp, fans' collective sigh, the PA system's polite chime urging final calls. Taehyung's flight to Paris wouldn't wait. Not for kings of K-pop, not for the gravity of their gravity. Go conquer the world, Hyung, Jungkook whispered, swiping at his cheeks with the back of his hand, a watery smile breaking through. But bring back stories. And that scarf I like, the one with the hidden pockets for secrets. Taehyung chuckled, a sound like sunlight piercing clouds, and pressed a quick, platonic peck to Jungkook's forehead, brotherly, yet profound. Deal. And you? Studio time, gym marathons, no more all-nighters on tattoos. Promise me. Their pinkies linked in a childish vow, sealing it against the cosmos. As Taehyung turned toward the gate, suitcase wheels whispering farewells. Jungkook stood rooted, a statue of quiet fortitude amid the ebb of the crowd. Tears carved fresh trails, but his chin lifted, eyes tracing Taehyung's silhouette until it dissolved into the security haze. The airport, once a cacophony, fell silent in his ears, save for the echo of their shared pulse. Hours later, as Jungkook slipped into his car, the engines per a poor substitute for companionship, he pulled out his phone. A text from Taehyung, boarded. Window seat. Stars already calling. Miss you, bunny. Hashtag Taehyung forever. Attached was a doodle. Two figures hugging under wings of an airplane. One labeled Paris Dreamer, the other Soul Sentinel. Jungkook's laugh bubbled through the remnants of sobs, a catharsis as genius as their music, raw alchemy, turning ache into art. He typed back, "Fly high, young. I'll hold the fort. Can't wait for the encore." Hitting send, he glanced at the rearview mirror, catching his reflection. Eyes red-rimmed but alight, the Magne reborn in resilience, in the grand narrative of BTS. Moments like this were the unsung verses, the glue in their golden discography. Jungkook, the eternal youth, had always been the bridge between eras, but today, in the shadow of Taehyung's departure, he stepped into his own spotlight, not as the prodigy, but as the poet of perseverance. Paris would dazzle with V's grace, but Seoul and the world knew the true showstopper was the bond that bent but never broke. News of the hug ricocheted across X and YouTube, amassing millions of views in hours. Fans dissected it with the fervor of scholars. Did you see JK's tears? Taehyung endgame. Yet for Jungkook, driving home through twilight veils, it was simpler, purer, a reminder that even stars fall to gather strength for the next rise. And in that vulnerability lay genius. The courage to cry, to cling, to let go, knowing reunion was not if, but when. The airport lights faded in his mirrors, but the warmth lingered, a promise etched in ether, as enduring as their anthems. Jungkook smiled through the salt, whispering to the empty passenger seat, "See you on the other side, Hyung."